so much for joining me. If you haven't been here before, my name is Tracy and this is a DIY upcycling channel. And today I want to make a fun, happy, complete outfit. First thing I need to do is dye these. This sweater is a little loose. It's 100% cotton and so comfy that I just have to use it. And these pants, now these were just regular white sort of jeans with a frayed bottom. I have since added a triangle insert and a little elastic at the bottom to give it a better shape. It almost has a barrel jeans sort of vibe. Now I have a video where I did the exact same thing to a pair of white drawstring capris that I got at the thrift store. So I'm going to link that in case you want to recreate the shape I'm using here. All right, let's go upstairs and dye stuff. I have some lace as well, some doilies, kind of a table scarf, some trims, and you'll see all this in detail later when I'm assembling the top, but right now this all has to get dyed pink. Oh, I forgot to tell you one more thing I'm going to dye is this sweater. It's 70% cotton, size medium, and I'm going to use this to create the flared sleeves on my other sweater. So I'm dyeing this with my pile as well. I have all my materials in my washer right now on a quick rinse and spin because everything needs to be damp. And I will dye everything except for the pants in a big pot. And I have it filled about to here with water and I'm heating it up to 200 degrees. And I'm going to start by using Rib for Natural Fabrics Petal Pink. I add a cup of table salt into the water and stir it up. I'm going to start by slowly adding the pink because I can always add more, but once I get too dark, then I have to kind of start all over. I like to take a paper towel and test the color. Well, that hardly did anything, so that tells me I have to add more. I think I like that. What I like to do is keep my flame on the teeniest, tiniest little flame to keep the water warm. Now my sweaters are wet. I'm going to put them in and I'm going to add my laces. And I will stir frequently for at least half an hour. Now I'm going to work on the pants while my other stuff is in the pot. And I am just going to do a basic sort of swirl tie-dye design, I believe. And I think I'll start on a leg. And I'm just going to twist this into a spiral the best I can. Okay, then I'm going to take rubber bands and just kind of do like spokes of a wheel to keep that in place. Now what I'm going to do is I have an empty spray bottle and I don't have a funnel, so I'm just going to take a measuring cup and take some of that hot dye and I'm going to pour it into this bottle. And this will be my dye for the tie-dye for the pants, and everything will have the same color dye lot. I have a tub and I have just a basic wire rack inside of it so that the pants aren't sitting right on the bottom of the tub. And then I'm going to set my pants on there. And I have this set on stream, and I am going to just hit a few areas. Now I'm going to turn it over and do the other side. I'm going to let this sit for half an hour. Okay, so it's been about half an hour, and I put my pants in a bowl, and I saw a video this morning on YouTube. It says that you can heat set your dye in the microwave for 2 minutes. Okay, let's take the rubber bands off and see what the pants look like. Okay, I'm going to try to do a quick fix here. So here's the zipper, and this spot by itself I don't really like. It's just kind of in a unfortunate area. So I think I'm going to just try to fix it by adding more dye up through here. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for a while. Now I'm going to rinse these real well, and I put some very hot water in this side of the sink. I am going to use Color Stay Dye Fixative, and it says it's to enhance colors, increase color retention, and reduces bleeding. And it says half a bottle for every 1 pound of clothes. Well, I am going to put a whole bottle in here because I got quite a bit of water, and stir it up. And then when I'm done rinsing, I'm going to soak it in here for 15 minutes and just kind of swish it around. Now my sweaters and lace are dyed, and I am going to rinse these, and when the 15 minutes for the pants is up, I'm going to put these in that bath. And then the final thing I will do is I'll put these on a rinse and spin, and I'm going to do the pants separately than all of this because I don't want a bunch of pink bleeding onto the white. The pants are all done, and they're so fun. I can put them aside and work on the sweater. So earlier I had the sweater on, and I had 2 safety pins, and I looked in the mirror, decided where I wanted my finished sweater to hit, and I typically like it just below my waistline. I want to be able to see these pants. And then I marked in the back with the safety pin as well. Okay, here's the bottom of my sweater. This is kind of open on the sides, so I just kind of put these together like this so I could find my center. And then when I found my center, I made a little mark right here. And then up from that, this is my safety pin where I wanted my finished sweater to hit. I want to add a 2-inch ruffle to the bottom. So I am going to measure up from there 1.5 inches. I'm not going 2 because I want seam allowance. So I'm measuring up 1.5 inches and making a mark. And that's where my cut will be. Now I'm on the back side down at the bottom. I found my center. Now I'm going to that safety pin. See how much higher it is in the back? So I'm going to measure 1.5 inches up from there and make a mark. Now my sweater's laying flat. I want to fold it in half this way, lining up the side seams. So here's the back mark. Now these you may not be able to see, but the back mark that I made is there, and the front one is right there. And I am just going to connect those and cut across. I have a piece of trim here. It actually was a tablecloth, a linen tablecloth with a pretty edge, and I cut 2 inches off. This is 2 inches tall. Now this is 39 inches all the way around, and this is 96 inches long. It should be plenty so that I don't have to do any pinning. What I'm going to do is take this and overlap 1/2 inch on the sweater. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch and just sew it on and make little pleats as I go. I don't want this to be super roughly so that it sticks out a bunch further than the sweater. So I'll probably go every maybe 1.5 inches, overlap 1/4 inch. You know, I get a better feel for it once I'm at my machine. And so I'll pleat, sew over it. And when I get back to this end, I'm just going to overlap it about, overlap it about 1 inch. I'm using pink thread. Now I have several strips of this. I want these scallops to just barely overlap this raw edge. And I will use a zigzag stitch and just do a tiny bit of pleating. This is one that I dyed, and it's from a table runner, and I cut about 1 inch border off of that table runner. And now I'm going to slightly overlap the top of this piece. Now the bottom is all done. Okay, I want to cut 9 inches off the bottom of my sleeves for my flare. So I'm just laying them on top of one another, lining them up. I'm going to take my ruler from the bottom up, measure 9 inches, and I'll just cut straight across. I had to measure across the bottom, just straight across, and I got 5 inches. So I've been playing with patterns. So this is what I came up with. So 5 inches, this measured straight across. I would subtract 2 inches, and that happens to be what this glass is, 3 inches straight across. Okay, so I have a big piece of packing paper. I'm going to take my glass and put it right in the middle. And I'm going to trace around it. I'm going to measure out from that circle all the way around 7 inches. Now I'm going to cut that out and cut this circle out. I need to take this pattern and cut out 2 circles, one out of the front of my sweater and one out of the back. But I'm going to deconstruct mine because I don't want to cut 2 layers at a time. I'm going to take this and put right sides together. So this is the right side. I'm looking at the right side of the sweater. And now I'm going to just put the sleeve through here, open it up, and pin all the way around. Now look, that hole fits perfectly. That measurement makes no sense, subtract 2 inches, but absolutely perfect. Okay, maybe someone can explain that to me. Now I'm going to do the same to this side. Now I have both armholes pinned. I'm going to do a straight stitch 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. Now I'm just going to press these seams just below that seam on the flared part of the sleeve. I am going to go down about 1/8 of an inch and do a nice straight top stitch all the way around. Now, if you have a serger or overlock machine, I'm sure you'd want to finish those edges with that. I am taking pieces from doilies and runners, about 3 inches tall and varying in length. This one's probably about 7 inches, and then I'll alternate. Here's one. Okay, I'm going to, let me bring it in closer. I'll show you what I'm going to do. This is going to be pretty easy and fun. I'm going to take my pile of doilies that I cut, and I will overlap 1/2 inch on top of that ruffle and sew, and I won't do any pleating here, plenty wide. And then when I end one, I'll overlap it and sew another, and just keep going all the way around until I reach this side, and I'm going to use a zigzag stitch. Now I have some pink eyelet trim. I buy a lot of my trims in lots from eBay, and I'm going to pin this one on. What I'm doing is I'm taking that eyelet trim and I'm measuring down 4 inches from that seam, and I'm going to pin it. Now I'm going to sew this on. I'm going to just stay right in that little band at the top there using a straight stitch. Now I have another piece of crochet trim. I think I will pin this about 2.5 inches down from that seam. And I'm going to use a zigzag stitch and just sew right across the top. Okay. How fun and feminine is that? Love it. Now I just want to add a heart to the front. We are just making a good old-fashioned fold your paper in half, draw half the heart, make a heart. So my paper is 12 inches across this way, and it's 9 inches this way. Fold it in half. You know, I already had this figured out, and it took me several tries to get the perfect heart for my project. Cut it out. This is a table runner that I dyed, and it turned out kind of a coral color, and I like it. A little bit of a contrast. So I'm just going to take my heart, center it, and I'm going to use a black marker because these are kind of hard to trace. And I'll go slightly outside of my heart so that when I cut, I can avoid that black marker. Now I'm just centering this on my sweater the best I can. It's about 3.5 inches down from this area here I measured, and I'm just watching these side seams to make sure I'm centered this way, and I'm going to pin that on. I have an old cutting board underneath here, so I can pin easily. Cardboard works great too. All pinned. Now I'm going to go sew it. I'm going to stay close to the edge using a zigzag stitch. Now I want to put a couple pieces of trim around the edges. And the first one I'm going to do is from this piece of needlework. Now I'm going to go sew this 1/4 inch away from the heart. and sew that all the way around using a zigzag stitch right at the bottom. I want to add another little piece of trim in here, and I dyed this doily when I dyed everything, and I'm going to cut a small edge off. Now this one, I'm going to overlap the heart just a little bit, go all the way around with a zigzag stitch. I want to put one more little heart in the center, and I'm going to make it out of this velour, kind of a hot pink velour from a thrifted tracksuit actually. You do kind of have to freehand your own hearts, but maybe this will help guide you. This is 5 inches across, a piece of paper, and 3.75 inches tall, folded in half, and then just make your little heart. Now, because this is sort of stretchy and hard to handle, I'm going to back it with fusible, lightweight interfacing. And if you haven't used this before, it has a bumpy side and a smooth side. The bumpy side are glue dots, and that's what I'm going to adhere to the back of this fabric. So I'm going to lay my interfacing, the smooth side, down on my ironing board. And then I'm going to just take a rectangle big enough for my heart and lay it wrong side down on top of the glue dots. Then I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper, put it over top so that stickiness doesn't get on my iron. And I have my iron on the hottest setting and steam off. And I'm going to hold it on each spot for 12 seconds. Now I'm going to turn this over, put my heart in the center, trace it, and cut it out. Putting it about in the center of the first heart we made. Now I'm going to go sew that on with a zigzag stitch, staying close to the edge. Okay, all done. How fun and cheerful is this? I had to shorten the sleeves. They were way too long. I did it right at the seam there. I have a vision for this outfit, so we're getting ready to head south to Florida for about a 4-week RV trip, and I wanted something cozy and comfortable that I felt good in, just elevated sweats, because this is so comfortable. And I have at least 3 bags. I'm going to show you 3 purses that I think would be really cute with this. And I'm going to say 1, 2, and 3, and then I'll link them down in my description. So here's one. How fun. Okay, that's a shoulder bag. Then I probably like this one better. This is a crossbody bag. Probably a little easier with these sleeves. Oh my gosh. All right, and then maybe I want a travel bag. A lot of times I have a big bag sitting by me when I travel, my water bottle and all kinds of things. So this one's number 2, this one's number 3. Very whimsical and fun. All right. I'm going to bring this in a little closer so you can see more of the details, and I thank you so much for watching.